All right, welcome everybody. I'll call our regular public council meeting for Tuesday, September 8, 2020 to order. I just want to remind residents that due to COVID-19, there's nobody from the public here. Our staff is here. Director of Planning, Director of Community Services, Director of Finance, Corporate Services, CAO, and Council. Just because they're out of the camera shot, you can't see who's here. If anybody had any questions for the first Q&A session, they would have sent them to Don. And Don, did you get any? No? Okay. No. If anybody thinks of something they want to ask a question about during the meeting, please send an email to dchaplain@torbay.ca and we'll add you to the second Q&A. Right now, new business. Councillor Glant.
I just want to make a comment about the first day of school tomorrow.
Okay. Councillor Pollard. Yes. Councillor Thorngas. Yes. Councillor Roach.
Pass.
Councillor Martin.
Also school.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you.
And I got a thanks and a safety. Motion to adopt the agenda as amended, please. Moved by Councillor Thorngas, seconded by Councillor Martin. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right. We had a set of minutes there from August 25th. Could I get a motion to adopt those, please?
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Martin. Seconder. Second by Councillor Thorngas. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Oh, sorry.
No, I just had a question, Your Worship, back to the amended agenda.
Yep.
Did we change that outside of here to put up on the website for public, or did we make amendment just before we walked in because of the expropriation?
No, that would be a motion to defer that motion,
Okay.
that's all. All right. All in favor? Well, I guess we already voted. Good. Proclamations, presentations, Q&A. So we got no Q&A, but we got a proclamation here. We got two. One for Torbay Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month proclamation from the Women of Hope. Councillor Thorngas, you can take that away. Councillor Thorngas, can you turn on the microphone, please? Thank you.
Okay. This month we recognize those who have died and offer support to those who continue to fight for their lives. Whereas the Canadian Cancer Society estimates that close to 3,000 women and girls of all ages will be diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2020, and that 63% of these women and girls will not live to see 5 years. And whereas ovarian cancer is the most fatal gynecological cancer in Canada, and yet the survival rate of women diagnosed with ovarian cancer in Canada has not changed in 50 years, and whereas early detection of the disease remains the best way to save lives. However, there is no reliable screening test for ovarian cancer. Symptoms include abdominal pressure or bloating, digestive problems, excessive fatigue, frequent urination, and changes in bowel habits. And whereas the Women of Hope group was created in 2016 and now has over 2,600 members worldwide. The group's mandate is to offer support for affected women, their family and friends, and to raise awareness for ovarian cancer and encourage the Teal movement. And
therefore, be it resolved that I, Craig Scott, Mayor of the Town of Torbay, together with our Town Council, do hereby proclaim September as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. So moved. Second. Any comments? I guess I'll just make a comment. The name on this proclamation, we get it from Susan Glynn, who's been in here a couple times, And I know that she's communicated to me on several occasions how happy she is and grateful that the support that she gets from the town of Torbay. I know that this week we had our flag flying outside of our town hall to show our support. And I know that there's other women in our town too that have contacted me about this particular issue, and they are equally grateful that we take the time to do this at our council and try and raise awareness. And I just want to congratulate Susan. She works really hard, and she's the founder of the Women of Hope, and you can tell by 2,600 members that her message is getting out there. And all that we can do to help her get her message out, even better. So,
Anything I can do to help too, because my mum died from that, I mean.
Yep.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Sign this up. Andy, do you want to take a picture? I'll just hold, I can stand up. Yeah, with our social distancing, we can't all get in a group like we normally do, so I'll stand here with this one. Thank you. And we have another proclamation here from the Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Newfoundland Labrador Network. And I'll turn that one over to Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Worship. All right, Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder, FASD Awareness Week is from September 7th to the 11th, 2020. Whereas fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, FASD, is a diagnostic term used to describe impacts on the brain and body of individuals prenatally exposed to alcohol. FASD is a lifelong disability. Individuals with FASD will experience some degree of challenges in their daily living and need support with motor skills, physical health, learning, memory, attention, communication, emotional regulation, and social skills to reach their full potential. Each individual with FASD is unique and has areas of both strengths and challenges. And whereas FASD-NL is a pan-provincial organization that educates, provides support and resources, and raises awareness about fetal alcohol spectrum disorder in Newfoundland and Labrador. And whereas Move for FASD is held across the province to mark FASD Awareness Week. And whereas FASD Awareness Week is devoted to raising awareness of fetal alcohol spectrum disorder to improve prevention of FASD and diagnosis and support for individuals with FASD.
Therefore, I, Mayor Craig Scott, do hereby proclaim the week of September 7th to 11th, 2020 as Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder, FASD, Awareness Week in the town of Torbay. Signed at the town of Torbay Town Hall on this 8th day of September, 2020. So moved.
Second.
Mover, seconder, comments? I guess the same as the last proclamation. Each of these groups that send these in, it's important to them, and it's important to us that we do these and we raise awareness for each individual, I guess, cause and in this one, a disorder or disease, to help raise awareness across the province. And we're in a good situation where we're able to broadcast our meetings and people can see them, and hopefully through our social media and our other outlets, we'll be able to help raise awareness for this one too. Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay. Thank you. moving on. Mayor's report. I just got a quick little report here to do this week. I know I've foregone it a couple of times, but on September 3rd, myself and Councillor Torngas and I know Councillor Martin, we attended the Silver Spades Awards over at Torbay Common, and we had 12 nominees this year, I think, and the pictures of their gardens were wonderful. I know that we're putting pictures up on our social media so people could see it. It was a little different than in past years where we had the nominees in here at Council Chamber. This time we did it over there, and I think it was really important, I found, when I was there, that we could do it in person. Yes, we had individual bubbles set up for each group, but it was nice to try and get back to some sense of normalcy and have those people in to recognize the efforts that they've done this year with beautifying their properties. You know, there's a lot of work goes into that. I know that I've been out doing some gardening myself this year. I told the group here the other night, I started off this year and I went out to buy a pitchfork, couldn't buy one. So no wonder does everybody get their pitchforks purchased to come after council with their pitchfork. And anyway, I think it was a wonderful little evening, and it was so nice. And I got my cabbage again this year, which was nice. I appreciate that. That the people that participate and do their gardens think about us that way, or think about me anyway. Give me a cabbage. Everybody didn't get one, sorry. But anyway, it was a nice evening, and Scotty did a good job doing it, and I think the people were pretty happy. It was nice to get together and see some other people, right? And so that was that. On September 4th, I got an email from former Mayor Tapper about a group that he's part of with regards to loud motorcycles or vehicles, and I had an opportunity to participate in an online meeting with Mayor Breen, Deputy Chief Oates, Minister Studley, and some members from that group that want to try and enact changes for traffic issues and loud motorcycles in particular, or loud vehicles that they were advocating on behalf. And I thank Ralph for advising me the meeting was on, and I was able to join, and we had a really good discussion. I know that it was initially raised by people on Signal Hill, worried about motorcycles going up and down there and making a big racket, but it's something that we deal with. I know we get complaints from residents in Torbay about ATVs on the road in particular, and cars speeding around our neighborhoods, and it was nice to be able to put forward those issues that we're having as well to Deputy Chief and make sure that it's on the RNC radar. And I reiterated with him again that the messaging that we've been telling our residents, and I wanted to confirm with him to make sure, is that when you see these things, you need to call the RNC and report it. The more reports they get determines where their patrols are going to go. So people might feel it's falling on deaf ears, but they may get a load of calls, and out of the blue one day there might be extra patrols, or they might do a blitz in our area. So if they're planning a blitz, then let it be blitz here so we can get it. So make sure that we do that. And I know that our town staff follows up too with the RNC on occasion, make sure that we're still on their radar. And I asked about the new traffic patrol, the MOU that the town signed, and where that is, if it's still on the radar. It is still on the radar. They're still hoping to do that. I know that with COVID over the last few months, things have gotten slowed up a bit, particularly with purchasing vehicles, and inventories for cars and stuff is down. So just want to let you know that I participated in that, made sure that our concerns are put forward as our town and our residents, because I'm inundated all the time with calls and emails and messages from residents about vehicles and ATVs in particular tearing up and down the roads within the town. So set. I had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with the food bank. Over the course of the fall, or spring, Kevin Martin, our friend there, our real estate agent friend that does some work with the food bank, helped them out. They are now an incorporated entity. He had a lawyer, a friend of his, do all the legal work, and it didn't cost the food bank anything. And they got a new, I guess, a constitution and a bank account. And in the next little while, they're going to be announcing that they're going to have an AGM. So it'll be their first AGM, and they're going to be looking for volunteers, people who want to serve on the board and help move it forward and make it operate. They operate good now with volunteers, and those guys work really hard. But it'd be nice to get some new people in there on that board and help move it forward. So we're just waiting on an opportunity to get a space, and I'll let them know and keep an eye out for that AGM. And if you feel like that you'd like to help, then come listen to what they got to say, and maybe you might be interested in serving on the board in some capacity. This Wednesday, again at Jack Byrne Arena, is the Eating Disorder Foundation bingo. I've been going and enjoying it. Won big $30 last week. And if anybody wants to go, I know they had a big crowd last week. They must have had about 300 cars. They were a really good turnout, and it's a great bit of fun, and it's for a good it's a good cause. So if you can, go. If you can't, look for something else to do and maybe help another charity or do whatever. But if you got an opportunity, if you like going to bingo and having a bit of fun, that's the place to go. Our birthdays for September: Dave Murren, Ed Brennan, and that's all I got on my list. Happy birthday, guys, and enjoy your special day when it comes around. That's it. Any questions or comments on any of that stuff?
I'll chime in for a minute there if I can.
Right.
Your point about the resident concerns about the motor vehicle issues, if it's an ATV or a car, I think it's important that we thank the residents for having a conversation with us about that and bringing things to our attention. We don't always know what's happening in different parts of the community. We're home with our families, we're at work, we're doing our things, but it is important for residents to have that dialogue with us. And I think, working with them and working with the RNC, I think it's important that people know that those concerns are not falling on deaf ears, and we are doing everything that we can do, that we can think of right now, but we're always open to new ideas. And one of the points that was raised in the discussion the weekend was, in the communication back and forth with the resident, was, well, maybe the town staff could, have some dialogue with the schools, Juniper Ridge and or the Holy Trinity High School, about safety around, using some of these vehicles, the ATVs and cars. And I thought, well, that already ties into some of the good work that the town is looking at, having conversations with other residents about other issues with that in that age group. So it really is useful when we have the opportunity to have the conversation, when it's brought to our attention, we can talk back and forth, we can listen, because we don't have all the answers. We're elected to represent people, but we don't have all the answers, so we're happy to take those back here and have the conversations with people. So I think it's just important to touch on that point. And congratulations to the food bank. That's amazing news. I'm just assuming, I want to confirm, that we'll be sharing their information about their AGM and the positions on their board of directors and stuff out through our social media channels as well, so that the public will be aware of it, and then they can know more about it. But that's fabulous.
Yeah, so right now I put a request to staff to see if we could find a time slot at the Common where we could allow them to host their meeting. And once we get that, then we'll be able to put forward to them, and they can go ahead and plan it.
Awesome.
We can help them do that.
All right.
And to your point about the discussion that we were having on the weekend, I think that social media has its benefits and its drawbacks, and I know that particularly with those discussions, sometimes they get off the rails and they lose sight of the original purpose. whereas you want to make people aware of this is going on, but then you don't want to get into the back and forth about this, you know. So I think that reporting information to the town through our channels, through our emails and stuff, so that we can forward it on. And we will forward it on to the RNC as well, but to make sure that we're all on this, pulling in the same direction.
Absolutely, yep.
All right, anybody else? Question, comment? All righty. Business arising. Is there any business arising from that minutes that we just passed? Okay. Correspondence. There's a correspondence here from Municipal Assessment Agency. It's just an update. It's a memo for the month of August, or it's a memo from August. And we will, this one is about the new people that got appointed to the board, is it not? No, it's not.
It probably is, yes.
Oh, okay,
because
it's just an update on the assessment agency. So we'll forward it on to finance.
There's two people, replaced two other people
Yeah, I think-
as the taxpayers people, and one is Carol Ann Smith.
Yeah, last week I think that came in,
So
last meeting.
that's nice.
that came in, yeah.
She'll do a great job at that.
I sent her an email, congratulate her on her space.
Yeah.
We have one here from Department of Municipal Affairs, Environment, Fire Protection, Financial Assistance. So it looks like our fire department got funding for some equipment, which is always good.
Yeah.
So they got $9,000 roughly, 70/30 municipal cost shared for bunkered gear, and that's good. Anytime that we can get extra, anytime we can get extra equipment, get some funding,
5,800 from.
it's all good. 5,800 for the province. Thanks, Tony. We have another one there from Climate Change. Oh, the department name changed. Department of Environment, Climate Change, Municipalities, Investing in Canada Infrastructure Fund. That's our water system upgrade approval for our prime consultant agreement. So that would be our zone meter project, Don? Okay. So it looks like Wood Environmental has, did they get that one? Yes. All right. And then we have another one from the same department with regards to our sidewalk project. And it is approval to award consulting services for that. So hopefully we'll be able to get that thing moving, get the tender out, and get some work started on that as soon as possible. And there's another one from, and this one is a call for 2021 to 2022 municipal infrastructure applications for September the 4th. So I'm sure that we got some applications that we're going to put in. And that's it. Any questions on those? They're just there for information purposes.
All we need to do is find our share of the funding.
That's all. But I think it's a good complaint to have to find our share of the funding after we got approved, as opposed to not getting approved and having to find all of the funding.
Yes, for sure.
Committees of Council. Where am I to? Planning, Land Use Development. Councillor Thorngass. Oh, no, sorry, Councillor Martin.
Thank you.
Microphone, buddy, please. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I'm going to move into the motions. We've changed our formatting, so we're just going to give a brief overview on the motions, and then all the accompanying documents are attached for reference. So the first motion is for 238 Balling Line, application BR 2020-009, Home Office for Plumbing Business. It's a residential infill land use zone, discretionary use. And the brief background on it is the town of Torbay is in receipt of an application proposing to establish a home office associated with a plumbing business with 2 full-time employees. Committee minutes and detailed background report associated with this application from part of this motion are attached for reference. Recommendation, committee discussed the proposal, supports the department recommendation, and is tabling the following motion. And motions as presented. Motion to approve application BR 2020-009 in accordance with Regulations 33 and 90 of the Torbay Development Regulations 2015 to 2025, as well as Conditions 10 of the Residential Infill Land Use Zone Table. So moved.
Mover, seconder, comments, questions? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, next one is 62 Motion Drive, application C 2020-097 and MV 2020-002. 10% variance request, maximum accessory building lot coverage. It's a residential medium density land use zone variance request. Brief background is the town of Torbay is in receipt of an application proposing to construct an accessory building at 62 Motion Drive. The applicant is requesting a 10% variance to increase the total allowable accessory building lot coverage of 93.5 square meters. Committee minutes, detailed background report associated with this application form part of this motion and are attached for reference. Recommendation is the committee supports the department's recommendation for conditional approval and tables following motion. Motion, whereas motion to approve application 2020-097 and MV 2020-002 in accordance with regulations 11, 12, and 33 of the Torbay Development Regulations 2015 to 2025, and to issue a conditional permit for a construction of 93.5 meters squared garage in the side yard of the property at 62 Motion Drive, as per conditions outlined in attached departmental background report and standard building questions in the town of Torbay. So moved.
Mover, seconder, questions?
No, I just want to comment, if I can, Your Worship, on the fact that this did not affect any line of sight for any other houses that are in the area. So on that basis, I'm certainly willing to approve it, but just keep in mind, I noticed in some previous applications, not necessarily here but elsewhere, that lots of times we've added variances on the places and they've actually blocked views of the ocean, things of that nature. So, but this one, I noticed the staff put a recommendation in. They had visited the area and said that there was no blockage, so on that, I'm fine.
Okay.
So I have, again, Jeff Gallant doesn't have any problems with the garage. Councillor Gallant's got some issues. Basically, this is a variance, and as such, we do a public consultation. We did a public consultation, and the majority of people that we asked in the neighborhood said they're not comfortable with the 10% variance. Again, you can put the garage. You can put to the max that you can do within our regulations. But again, this is the extra allowing the oversize. So by not allowing the oversize, I mean, we're not really, I don't think we're going to be impeding the applicant there. But again, the variance of the size affects the whole neighborhood. And if the neighborhood has issues with it and problems with it, then I think we kind of have to, certainly I'm more inclined to support the feeling of the neighborhood. That's the point of doing it, right? Of doing the public consultation. And to Councillor Pollard's point, again, I've been on council for a while. I always have flashbacks of, I was told before, putting a house on, I don't want to say the names, but you can drive on Marine Drive there now and go around that turn and go to the little lookout and go take a look at the view of the ocean type of thing, right? And there's, you can obviously see that there's, I was told, no, the new roof's not going to impact the view at all. That's what I was told. And then, of course, afterwards it kind of does. So I'm just a little gun shy as to, hey, no, it's not going to impact the view. And then if it does, then you can't undo it necessarily, right? So I'm going to side with the neighborhood public consultation results with this one. I think that was a safe bet.
Okay, anybody else?
I was just saying, closing, there were, when you go down, there was variable, there was a lot of communication threads, email, and I know the last one going off, there was no no issues with the garage from the resident.
Point of order was 3-2, wasn't it? 3 against, 2 for, 3 against, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely, where was the majority of opposition from the neighborhood for this 10% variance?
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'll go back on my page.
Can I ask one question on that? Is that the same one that we discussed at the last meeting of the 10 inches or something?
No.
No,
don't
okay,
think so.
sorry.
Next one is 197 Middle 3 Island Pond Road, application C 2020-102, foundation work, which is RUR, and construction use zone, non-conforming use in rural and RUR zone. Background, the town of Torbay is in receipt of a building application by the property owners of 197 Middle 3 Island Pond Road, proposing to fix their structurally unsound floor and joist by placing a foundation under the existing cabin. Committee minutes and a detailed background report associated with this application form part of this motion and are attached for reference. Recommendation, committee supports the recommendation of the department and is hereby tabling the following motion. Motion to approve application C 2020-102 in accordance with regulation 49 3 and B of the Torbay Development Regulations 2015-2025 and to issue a conditional approval for the placement of a foundation on an existing cabin at 197 Middle 3 Island Pond Road, subject to standard building requirements in the town of Torbay and reconfirming that the structure is considered a legal non-conforming seasonal residence only. So moved.
Second.
And
Mover
this,
Hang on.
we recently...
Mover, seconder. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. We recently approved a similar proposal at a previous meeting. It's just to ensure the dwelling is structurally sound for occupancy. You know, we're not moving it or doing anything, anything extravagant with it. We're just securing it, ensuring it's structurally sound.
All right. Comments, questions? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. And the next one was for 21 Spray Lane, cul-de-sac land acquisition, seeking municipal approval for expropriation. And
You want to defer that, don't you?
I do. So I was just about to say, we've received some feedback from some other members of council, as well. The resident put in sent us a late email today. So I'd like to hereby move that we defer this motion to committee of the whole for further discussion.
Second.
Mover, seconded by Councilor Strongas. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We don't need a comment, we're just deferring a motion. That's it. We can't discuss it, we're deferring it.
Just point of
So
order.
just-
If there's a motion on the floor and there's mover and seconder, you
Okay.
can discuss it no matter what the subject is, right? Obviously.
If you want, go ahead.
The only comment that I wanted to make was, I spoke with the resident myself today, and I'd really like to make sure that council has a documentation in front of us for committee of the whole to lay out what communication has been had here on this and what the history has been, so that we have it all in front of us. If there's any emails that have been transpired back and forth, or anything else that we can get a really good picture of what's been happening with this file from the beginning. My understanding is that this property has been the property of the current owner since 1999.
Now you can discuss the deferral,
No,
but not
I know, but what
the
I'm
motion.
No, but what I'm asking is that we have a document put in front of us for
Yeah.
committee of the whole, circulated to council, so we can all come up to speed with what's transpired in that file, that's all.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Director Schwartz, could you note those items Deputy Mayor asked for committee of the whole, please?
All right.
Do we need to
already voted,
revote
right?
that because, no, Deputy Mayor,
That's
Yeah, I
fine.
didn't
Okay.
vote, 'cause I-
That's okay.
Deputy Mayor didn't vote, okay.
Everybody voted in favor.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Last one I have is permit listings. Background's permit listings for the period of August 15th to September 3rd. are attached and form part of this motion report recommendation. Committee hereby tables the following motion. Motion to accept the permit listings for the period of August 15th to September 3rd, 2020 is presented. So moved.
Mover? Seconded. Questions? Comments? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. You got one other one there, Councillor Martin, terms of reference update.
Oh, sorry, I thought that was a continuation number. Terms of reference update, Torbay Environment Advisory Committee background. Over the past few months, the committee, the Torbay Environment Advisory Committee and the town staff have been working on updating terms of reference for the Torbay Environmental Advisory Committee. The attached document is a result of having incorporated request revisions. Recommendation, the committee recommends adopting the updated terms of reference and hereby tables following motion. Whereas Council to adopt updated terms of reference for the Torbay Environmental Advisory Committee Revision 3 dated September 8, 2020. So moved.
Mover and seconder. Questions, comments? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And
Carried.
there's a notice of motion, but I'll wait until we get to that notice of motion, that section, Your
Okay.
Worship, or would you like me to do it now?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Wait.
That ends my report,
All right, thank you.
I believe.
Anybody have any questions on any of the other planning stuff there?
No, good job, Councillor.
Thank you.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Highlight the rest of the report. Ready to present to council.
One moment, please. Lost my page.
We're doing what? If anybody have any questions on the rest of the planning report? No? Okay. Move on. Administration and Finance. Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just going to start off with the motions. I know we had our meeting last Tuesday at 8 o'clock-ish, myself and Deputy Mayor and Director of Finance and Corporate Services, Jacqueline. There's only one here invoice over $5,000 to approve, and it's for Lynn Morrissey for HR activities April through July, in the amount of $15,180. So moved.
Second.
Mover and seconder. Comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The town participated in the Department of Transportation and Works tender call for winter sand. So we signed on to what the province is doing to make it, I guess, more beneficial in getting the lower price for a larger purchase overall. So it's a motion here that the town accept the Department of Transportation and Works recommendation to award the supply and stockpile winter sand to Weirs Construction Limited at a price of $29 per cubic meter. Quantity order is 1,100 cubic meters, which is approximately 2,000 tons, for a total cost of $31,900 plus HST. The annual budget for winter sand is $50,000, of which $47,000 is available. But obviously, that'll carry over to next year's budget as well, so moved.
Second.
Mover and seconder. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Go to the next part now, for those who are following on the new report format here, is the motions from other committees, Infrastructure and Public Works, and I'll speak to motions from other committees after as well. Anyway, that the town of Torbay accept the Department of Environment, Climate Change and Municipalities' recommendation to award tender PN 17 RNC 210001, new sidewalks on Torbay Road from Mans Road to Juniper Ridge for prime consulting agreement to Wood Environmental and Infrastructure Solutions for $123,273.10, including HST. Total approved project budget is $2.3 million, of which $2.3 million is available to be awarded. This project is cost shared with the Department of Environment, Climate Change and Municipalities through the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Just one point. It's Man's Lane.
Yes.
Just make sure that we got it
Yes.
right in the motion. Questions, comments?
That's actually how it's written in the agreement.
What was it?
The department is aware of that through the contract documents.
Okay. We'll just change the sign if we have a problem.
Yes, sir.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
that the town of Torbay approve change order 1 for North Pond Water Treatment Plant Study. Wood Environment and Infrastructure Solutions will refine the cost estimates prepared in August 2019. The original budget approved was $5,146 plus HST, and the change order is for an additional $10,544 plus HST. $40,758 is budgeted for water supply studies in 2020, of which $27,027.18 is still available. So moved.
Second.
Mover, seconder, questions,
I
comments?
just want to say, if everyone remembers, when we went through the original presentation for North Pond, we, I guess, purposely put in a higher bid than well, let's not say purposely put in a higher, but let's put in a less refined bid in the hope that we would definitely get enough cost share to cover the whole cost of the project. And after the meeting, of course, with the ministers, they came back and said that it's a big price tag, so we're probably better off if we could refine the number somewhat. So that is where we are now. We're going to commit to refining that number, so to see if we can't get the wastewater treatment plant or North Pond water treatment facility up in operation at some point in the future.
All right, good. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
From Recreation and Community Services, that the town of Torbay approve moving forward with a recognition plaque and install for the Torbay and area kinsmen in the amount of $3,200 plus HST. The town will utilize unspent community events and programming dollars for this purchase. So moved.
Second.
Or seconder, comments?
Just a big thank you to all the kinsmen for doing what they've done.
I'd also like to reiterate those comments.
It's good. I'm glad that that we're finally getting to move forward on that, and hopefully, when it's ready to roll, we'll be able to get them over and see what we're doing. So, anyway, okay.
They were very keen, and there was a number of them when I was on the committee who were very keen to work with us to make sure that that was done. So thank you for moving that forward and getting us to a place where we're able to get that rightful recognition in place. Thank you. It's appreciated.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Attached to the information packages are the statements up to date, the expense and revenue reports from the 1st of January till the 28th of August. Information on the active infrastructure and capital projects that have been approved to date in terms of the funding that was approved and the amounts we received to date. Payroll register information is a little different than we usually present as well, and I usually read that out, but I won't because the information is attached, as are the year-to-date invoices that are processed. So each payroll period is now listed from the dates that it was issued, and they're all attached. And so ends my report, Your Worship.
All right. Anybody have any questions on any of the other items in the finance report?
No, again, just a great job, Councillor and team. I love the format that we're following now for this stuff. I think it's, if I were at home, not on council, it'd be very easy to follow along, and we can add, get any questions you might have. It's all right there in black and white online, and well done, man.
Yeah, no doubt. There's lots of information there for people to peruse if they choose. All right, moving on. Economic development and tourism. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. All right, myself and Councillor Martin and our Economic Development Tourism Officer and the Mayor met. I do have to apologize. I was late to this meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for joining in.
My job's never done.
4:30 is part of my workday, so I really appreciate you taking the lead in the beginning of the meeting. All of the information that we discussed is here if anyone has any questions. The strategic roadmap, we had an update on that. The Torbay Business Awards, the EDAC Marketing Awards, Region Wayfinding, the History House Project, and the work from the Business Horizon Report. So if anyone has any questions, feel free.
I have a question, but I got a comment.
Sure.
It's nice to see that, it opened on September 1st, and shortly after that, we had 14 submissions for the Business Awards, which is really encouraging.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see a lot of uptake on that. It's good. It's a testament to how quickly we got it out there and get people engaged.
Absolutely, and I had a resident contact me actually about the nonprofit wanting to make sure that they understood that well. So it's really nice to see residents engaged and participating. And speaking of the resident engagement, I didn't have the opportunity, I wasn't able to attend the last meeting, so thank you, Councillor, for the update on the History House project consultation that we had. That was really positive, and it went really well. It gave us a great opportunity to have an open dialogue. So I just want to make sure that anyone that has any interest in the History House project knows that we are listening. We are currently working on models, and we'll have that for the next committee meeting, and then look at and bring it back to committee of the whole. So as promised in that discussion, we are working on it, and we're doing our best to move this forward as quickly as possible. And we're always listening. So if people have ideas and they want to share, or they want to touch base, it's always welcome. So other than that, if there's any other questions, I'll answer them, and if not, so ends my report.
Anybody else have any questions on anything in there? No, okay.
Thank you.
Infrastructure and Public Works, Councillor Thorngas.
We had our meeting on September 2nd. Councillor Power, the Director of Infrastructure and Public Works. Again, is there an update there on everything that we have on the go? So is there any questions?
If I could, I have one. Just looking at the timeline for the sidewalks, could you provide some information about, it says here completion is expected summer 2021. I was kind of hoping that we were going to get that done this year. I know we've just awarded the engineering work, but do you have any further information on the timeline on that, Councillor?
With the CAO prior to the meeting, she's going to touch base with Tony, see if there's any way that it's possible to move it along a bit faster.
It's my understanding was that we were supposed to have that done this year, so that's why I was just curious to see if there's anything further.
Well, she just awarded the contract, or just had a motion to award.
So we don't have any concerns about that funding. Once we've awarded this now, we're sure that we'll have the money if there's an election, say in the spring. It won't impact the summer implementation of the sidewalks. So we want to make sure that,
Director's not here tonight, I don't know, CEO, if you want to respond to that in Ron's absence?
Once the contract is signed, that will, election call will not appear, moving forward with that. As Councillor Thorngas mentioned, I spoke to her prior to the start of the public meeting, and now that council has awarded that contract to the consultant, I'm actually going to follow up so that we can fast track it as promptly and efficiently as we can, because this is all of the capital projects are one of the points, but I know for pedestrian safety, and use walking to the community centers, well, this is high on everybody's radar. So once I speak to the consultant, I'll have a better idea, and I can report back to all council once I have a discussion.
perfect, thank you.
Right, anybody else got any other questions? Councillor Grant?
I've got a couple of questions. I'll just use the first bit of my time regarding trail development. I know this is something I've been trying to push for in the last X number of decades, I suppose, but specifically last I guess since the beginning of the summer. And I'm really glad to see that we appear to be getting some movement on it here. But this point here, it says, received the license to occupy mid last week. What? So we have received the license to occupy,
Yep.
Yes.
right? And so,
Occupy what?
so this is the requirements of the license to occupy are being reviewed and addressed.
What?
Right, the Department of Infrastructure and Public Works noted that the conditions from the LTO is going to take too long to meet. That if the conditions take too long to meet, then we'll look at upgrading another town to the trail. Sorry. It's worded oddly here. Then he will look at upgrading another trail in the town, possibly Jones Pond Trail, which needs upgrading. So we actually did receive response. In summary, we did receive response from the province for the license to occupy, and they had a bunch of requirements. And I guess we're just reviewing those to see if we can.
Probably going to take some time, so rather than wait, there's some work that can take place over on Jones Pond, prepare that for the trail rounds. That was the other backup plan B.
Right, and that, I'm really glad, because that's one of the things I was specifically pushing for. If we didn't receive the license to occupy, then, hey, let's get moving on Plan B, right? And I was told that the delay was all 100% on the province and stuff like that. But now we received it, now it seems weird that we received the license to occupy, now we're going to Plan B. I thought we were gonna go to Plan B if we didn't receive a response. And I guess I don't have any details here as to, could you speak to the requirements of the LTO? Why would we abandon Plan A? What is it about the?
The time frames around, so that's what we discussed at the committee. The time frames didn't allow the license to occupy to take place this year because there's some other work that has to be done in relation to the license to occupy.
Well, what?
I can't tell you right now what the work is.
Okay. Well, I guess okay. I just want to say, I'm thank you to the province for responding. Thank you for the department, or sorry, thank you to, I guess, the committee and everything like that for realizing that, hey, let's go to Plan B if we need to. But hey, now we've got it. Let's not throw away Plan A that we finally got it. We've been waiting a year and a half for an answer. We finally got the answer. We're going to abandon it. If that was the case, we should have been doing Plan B a year ago, right? So we want to do Plan A because that's the better, more valuable way to do it. I'd just like some details before we give it up. I mean, if we're still waiting on the province, I'm like, hey, let's go build something else. But again, I'd like to see some more details before we completely abandon it.
All right.
Okay, I think I used up all my
Can
time.
I ask a question?
I digress.
Go ahead.
Would a common solution be so that, it could speed up things for the three committees involved, because it's, excuse me, two committees, I'm sorry.
It's just one committee with trails, just public works, that's it.
Oh, Public Works, is it okay then? Have we decided on anything in the future, in the near future, for the people who have the RTV, what do you call them?
ATVs.
The Zooms.
ATVs?
And all that stuff, because there are a lot of them around. And in some communities, it's been very fruitful for them to have it in a certain area, and they can drive on up there safely without, injuring people who are walking and all this stuff, because it's specifically for them. So something like that in the future, thinking or anything like that, I'm just putting it in there because I've been asked it.
Right. I don't know, but we can ask the Public Works Committee to add something like that to their agenda to see if there's desire for that.
Because if they can go somewhere en route away from everything, I think that'd be appreciated by everybody as you're walking down, even when you're coming out of some parts of, myself and my son were up to a pond last week. Anyway, and coming out, there was a stream of them came up a road that we were going down to get to Torbay Road, I won't say where it was anyway, over there. And it was, they didn't care if they stopped or going to what. And so, we knew they were coming because we could see them, so we acted accordingly. And but I thought, because even my son said, he said, my God, a lot of other towns have it that way, So I said, it'd be great for us to look into it too, Make it a little bit of a
The closest
time.
one I can think of that has ATV trails is probably Cornerbrook. I know it's not very close.
Does Gander have it?
The Burin Peninsula does, I know,
Yeah.
and I know they've done a lot of good work, and they've actually gotten federal funding
Yeah.
for ATV trails to come
Yeah.
right up the Burin Peninsula. And I think, Councillor Roach, that's a very good point, because that's
Yeah.
been raised to me as well. There have been residents from Torbay who've said, you've approved these things, these developments, but now they have nowhere to go. So of course, now they're having to go through community to get to wherever they're trying to get. So I think that it's another part of listening to residents and having that discussion about what can we do and what makes sense, and absolutely asking Public Works if they could take it away and have a look at it and see.
Yeah. I think
But it
it'd be a
definitely makes
great
sense to
idea
me.
to look into it anyway. It may not be feasible, I don't
Okay.
know.
All right.
but- Okay, sorry,
Good.
sir.
That's good, no, it's good,
If I
good
could share
suggestion.
with committee, there's a chap by the name of Elroy Grandy, who's been heavily involved with the ATV Association and the trails, and he was also on the Garnish Town Council. I'm not sure if he still is, but a lovely gentleman So if there's an interest for staff maybe to follow up with what's been done there, he'd be a great connection to have a discussion about how they built that over time down there. And that's close, or semi-close.
Perfect, thank you. Anybody else have any questions on the Public Works report? No? Okay. Recreation and Community Services.
So we did have a meeting. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it, so I'm actually going to pass the, I guess there's no chair to pass, but I'm going to request that Councillor Martin please deliver the minutes reports.
Okay, one moment. All right, so we had a very brief meeting. Myself and Mayor Scott sat in as ex officio. Minutes are attached for our September 1st meeting. We discussed acoustics, community use of Torbay Common, excuse me, as well as our fall programs, excuse me, our Mad Bench, Beautification Awards, and Kingsman Recognition. Action report is attached. Also, myself, Mayor Scott, and Councillor Thorin Goss met for Silver Spades last Thursday night down to the Torbay Common. Scott was there. Scott Martin was there as our staff resource, and he did a great presentation. I'd like to just pass the congratulations to all 12 participants. Our junior gardener winner was Ben and Jack Porter. Best vegetable garden was Marie and Clinton Stanley. Environmentally conscious property was Dan and Rita Roblin. And best residential property was Mary Burgess. And overall winner was Doreen and Jerome Terry. And thank you, Mayor Scott. You did a great presentation as well on site. And it was great to see all the effort that was put in to the residents over the year. That ends my report.
Perfect. Anybody got any questions on anything on that report?
Good job.
All right, thank you. Liaison Committees. Atlantic Mayor's Congress. Atlantic Mayor's Congress met this past weekend in Summerside, PEI. I was not in attendance. As I stated before, that I didn't feel like traveling at this time. And but I'm sure they had a great meeting, and I am an executive of that. And I know that we have a meeting set for this week, so I look forward to that. And also, we received a request from them. They were looking for hosts for 2021, and they inquired if the town of Torbay would be interested in hosting the spring meeting. And I know CAO followed up back with them to find out what's involved in that, and then we'll bring that forward to council once we figure out and see if we're interested in doing it. So I suspect it would be similar to when we hosted a UMC meeting. It's about the same number of people, same time frame. Usually it's like a day and a half meetings or 2 days, so be interesting. When I have anything new on that, I'll bring it forward. Intergovernmental affairs, provincial, federal, municipal. I guess, excuse me, the meeting that I had on Thursday with the minister and RNC and Mayor St. John's would fall under there, and I already talked about that. So, Jack Byrne, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Worship. We have a meeting on Thursday evening, and we will be providing an update after that meeting. We've been taking a really good look at the financial impacts of COVID and what has happened, and making sure that there's been safe operating procedures. So it's my understanding from staff actually that some of the procedures that they're using for provincial arena operations came from some of the submission that was provided by the staff at the Jack Byrne. So just to recognize that. And once we have the meeting, then we'll bring the report back. Any questions about Jack Byrne before we move on?
I have one. Is there any more talk about second rink or anything like that, or is that dead now? Councillor Roach, right now the board has been focused on the impacts of
the financial impacts of COVID. And from March, middle of March to July, we weren't able to have any events at all. So we had to cancel all the events because of the COVID pandemic. So what really we've been focused on is how do we make sure that we function in a way that there's minimum impact on the towns? Because at the end of the day, if there is a financial loss at the Jack Byrne, then the onus is on the 4 towns that own the facility to make up the difference. So we've been very careful. We've increased our meeting schedule to a monthly meeting, and we've been going through, the finances and what activities can happen safely. When could we open again? What are we able to do? One of the requests that I've made as the chair of the Jack Byrne is to, for the meeting coming, is to have a plan for what the next year is going to look like. We all understand that COVID may change things and it may look very different, but we've asked that the staff put together a plan so the board can review it on Thursday night, and then we'll bring that back. Part of the plan is to bring that back to the municipalities and say, here's what we're thinking next year may look like. But I think it's very important to have an open discussion with the 4 owner towns and the management group, the management board for the Jack Byrne, so there's clear communication back and forth about the impacts of COVID and what that looks like. So really, that's our focus. And the second ice pad discussion has not been something that we've focused on since the spring when COVID's happened. It's just making sure that we're mitigating that risk right now is our top priority.
Thanks.
Councillor Pollard, do you have any comments on that?
None at this point in time. After next Thursday, we'll have more comments, I'm sure.
That's it for us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, that kind of rolls into what I was discussing earlier. Torbay Volunteer Fire Department. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. Zoom meeting took place last Monday evening, discussed regular business. Meetings are still taking place via Zoom due to the pandemic. Thank you.
All right. UMC, our next UMC meeting is this Sunday, September 13th at 9 o'clock. And it'll be another virtual Zoom meeting. So looking forward to that, having a chat with my colleagues from across the province and see how everybody's making out with the COVID. And discuss, I guess there's some new programs and funding opportunities that might be coming out from the federal government, and we're going to discuss that on Sunday and see if there's any inroads that we can make in that. So I'll update, I guess, next week or next meeting on how that went.
Can I ask you a question?
Indeed, you can.
While you're there with your meeting in it, seems like there is vaccines already formed and tested, but I don't know if it's who's telling the right. Some of it comes up on TV and then something say something else. But I think it's important because if you can get a vaccine and know where to go to get it, before you get the coronavirus I'm talking about, like we did with that flu thingy and all that stuff. Be nice if they tell us where to go, instead of the hell. I know, but anyway, I'm sorry about that.
That's
But
all right.
it's there's a lot coming out, and then it's almost frightening of how many people are dying, not in our side of the world, but you go over there too, you see in India and China and, oh God, one of the other countries out there, bless God. And, but they says there's a vaccine, so where the hell is it gone to?
Councillor Roach, I would suggest that anybody get their information from a reputable source, and to me in Newfoundland Labrador that is our Chief Medical Officer of Health, and anything that you read or hear or anything on TV or in the print, if it's not coming from a health person, that I would ignore it. But
Oh, I
agree
just
with
thought
you.
that you could be, ask it there,
At our UMC meeting,
No, you said you were going to,
UMC Sunday,
oh, was it, I'm sorry.
yeah. All right. Moving on, we've got a notice of motion there from the planning department. We'll deal with that next meeting. It's about the gate at Torbay Common. So, new business. Councillor Glenn.
Okay, just want to acknowledge that the first day of school is tomorrow for a lot of children of Torbay, one of mine being included there, going into grade 1, getting the bus for the first time. So I just want to remind everybody, please slow down when you're driving, if you're driving anywhere during school hours. Lots of little kids getting picked up, dropped off, out for the bus for the first time, maybe a little excited, run across the road or something without necessarily looking both ways. So just take your time. And just want to say thanks to all the parents out there and the kids. I guess thanks is the wrong words, but just to kind of share my excitement. And you know, the whole reason why we're able to go back to school, because we didn't know what's going on with the COVID stuff for a long time. Didn't know if there was going to be school or not school. And of course, things got better and better. And of course, we not just flattened the curve. We basically eradicated it. It was virtually zero for a long time. And our kids, this community's children, wouldn't be going to school this year, except for we're all in this together, and everyone stayed home, and everyone put on their masks, and everyone's doing social distancing. We actually, I'd say we did it because of course it could be a long road, but we've done such a good job of dealing with this pandemic that we're able to get with some sense of normalcy and getting our kids back to school. It's just, this is a huge. Tomorrow's like my favorite day since the pandemic hit. I don't really care about work from home or doing remote meetings and stuff like that, but school was canceled and now it's back, and that's important. We should take a step back and thank those involved for not just logistically making this happen. All the bus drivers and teachers and the politicians and the boards and this momentous thing that makes it happen any school year, right? But with just these challenging conditions, it's just I'm really proud of everyone that was involved in making it happen and helping control the spread of this terrible virus, right? So anyway, just thanks everybody, and slow down tomorrow. Thank you.
Did I forget to join council, Mary?
Yes.
Did you have a meeting?
No, we're having one.
All right, thanks. Councillor Pollard, pass. Number 2. Councillor Roach, pass. Councillor Thorngoss, pass. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I'd also like to just briefly touch on school opening tomorrow. It'll certainly be a different dynamic outside of the normal first day with the pandemic and whatnot. Just remind everyone to practice caution, exercise caution when driving, and leave room for people walking, and also if you're on also keep an eye out as well for people bicycling and things like that. Hopefully there's no ATVs going to schools, but other than that, just stay safe and be well.
All right, thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Worship. I had a really interesting reality check this weekend. I was enjoying time with my family who were around, spent some time, with my sisters, and it was lovely, beautiful weekend. And I got a message from a resident and said, Deputy Mayor, how you making out? Happy Labor Day to you. And the conversation went, well, I'm having a great time with my family. How are you making out? And I expected to hear, I'm having a great time with my family too. And what I heard was, I'm out in another community actually working on trying to help other people, making sure they're safe. It was a first responder. And it hit me like that. And I went, you know what? We all get up every day. We go to school. We put our kids on the buses. We do everything we do. And we just take for granted. We know that if something goes wrong, someone's going to drop their meal, drop what they're doing, and come look after us. And here was a resident of our community who was giving up their time with their family to go look after and do that for someone else. So I think I want to say thank you to the emergency responders, to our emergency responders who do that for every single one of us every day. It was just very humbling for me to go, you know what, thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to have the peace that I do every single day. So that's the first thank you. The second thank you is to the volunteers and the town staff that put off made it possible for summer programs to happen. I know my children participated this year. With every other parent, I was absolutely terrified in the beginning. I have a son that has a cardiology condition, so I'm especially concerned. But I have to tell you that things went really well. From the different sporting events that I saw, I know how hard our staff worked to make that happen and understand what the provincial regulations were and work with volunteers and organizations. And it was a great success. So thank you to everybody who made that happen. I know COVID made it extra hard for some people, but boy, they stuck with it and they made it happen. So hats off to all of you, and good luck to all the youth that are in the softball program having their playoffs right now. That's very important for them to finish that up. I also wanted to mention the Thursday evening when you guys were doing Silver Spades, I was in the car at the bowling line upper three corner with kids involved in sports that I was supposed to be helping clue up. And I was also on the phone with the Juniper Ridge School Council, because I'm a member of the school council there. And the staff talked about all the work that they're putting in to try to make sure that they're trained, they've got the COVID protocols, safety, everything in place for tomorrow. And I know they've worked especially hard. And I know it's been frustrating for residents who don't always know the inside stuff that we do to sit and have those conversations. But I know that they're working really hard. I know the safety protocols are in place. And for parents who are concerned about your kids going to school tomorrow, lots of children have been in daycares, they've been in camps, they've been in sports programs, and we've done well. And to Councillor Glant's comment, you know what, we are doing it. We are dealing with COVID. We have more information, we're understanding it, and we're doing well. So thank you to everybody for that. Have a safe return to school tomorrow for all the kids that are going, and make sure that, you know, we have a little extra patience tomorrow morning. It's going to be hard for some of us, especially I love walking my kids into school for the first day, and my son is still in elementary school, so to not be able to walk him to his classroom tomorrow, it's going to be hard. But we'll all get through it. We've been getting through it and doing well, you know, to keep COVID at bay, and I'm sure we'll continue to do that. So with that said, that's the extent of the thank yous for me this evening, and it's nice to be back in here. It's the first time I've been in here since March, and it's really lovely to be sitting in the room and face-to-face with you guys, so thank you for that.
Right.
And that's it for me.
Thank you. Soon you'll be at the stage where you yell out to your kids that are still in bed that the bus is out there. Just gotta thanks. It's kind of weird. I got an email there a couple of weeks ago, last week I guess. It's an invitation from the Canada Top Mayors Award to participate in a cash cab game. So I received an email back in May. I shared with Don that, well, first of all, I saw in April that Danny Breen was nominated for Canada's Top Mayor Award. I said, man, that's really cool, right? Yeah. Big deal. Then in May 1st, I received the nomination. So then I said, well, it's not that big a deal. And then, so I know that my friend in Dover, Tony Keats, is also one of them. So we're looking at, potentially, we're going to be on some kind of cash cab show to highlight our town and to raise money for charity. And I wasn't really going to say anything, but I figured now that if this thing is going to go ahead and I want to raise awareness that we're potentially going to be doing this, you know, because I'm pretty modest guy, right? I don't, but well, I must be. I've managed to keep that under my hat since May, and but I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a great bit of fun. I watch that show all the time, and it would be fun to actually be sitting in the cab doing it. But I'm curious to see how they're going to do it, and I'm really looking forward to doing it. And the community group that I identified in my application when I sent it in was our Folk Arts Council. So for all that they do in our community, for the town, to promote heritage and music and everything. So I'm really hoping that this thing goes ahead and it's going to be a lot of fun. So just thought I'd mention that. Thank you to them for nominating me first and then for inviting me to do this cash cab thing. It's really it's humbling and a pleasure to be honest with you. It's been a rough year, and it's nice to see some good stuff come up every now and then that makes you feel like you're doing something here anyway. So, and the other thing is with the safety tomorrow, everybody please, parents, kids, the schools are opening. Please be safe, because going back to school should be an exciting time for everybody right now, and we don't want to have any accidents or any unforeseen circumstances. It's bad enough now. The children are going to be, a lot of them have a lot of stress, and they're thinking about going back to school. I know my daughter is going to grade 11, and she's a little bit maybe worried about going back, but I don't know. It don't seem like it. But they could be walking along the road and a little preoccupied about going back to school. So it's up to everybody in the community to try and keep children safe. So please do that. Have an extra eye out tomorrow morning when the traffic and going forward when the schools are open, and make sure everybody gets home safely. And Don, do we have any questions? No. Okay, and nothing from the, I wouldn't say peanut gallery, but from the residents asking questions. They know I'm only joking with them. They know I love them. Our next public council meeting is Monday, September 21st, 2020 at 6:30 right here in the Torbay Council Chambers. And everybody keep an eye out for our social media posts and check out our agenda that's going to be coming up. And with that, I would entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Mover, seconder, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.